You've seen the work we put in and day out, challenging myths, debunking old wives' tales, and exposing poor breeding practices. Ugh. We spent years researching, studying, and applying real-world experiences to perfect the art of science of breeding. Why? Because you deserve the best, most accurate information out there. But to keep this mission alive and growing, we need your support. If you found value in the Bred to Perfection live show, take a moment, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our content. It may seem small, but every like, every subscriber, and every share helps us reach more breeders who need to hear the truth, who want to learn what it really takes to create, maintain, and improve high-quality strains. This isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. If you believe in what we're doing, if you want to help others discover the power of true breeding, help push this channel to the top. Like, subscribe, and share. Together, we make a difference. Thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get to work. Entertaining, informative, and educational. Inspiring content that makes a difference.
This is the Maximus Troy Publications Broadcasting Network.
Join the Academy. This show is brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl.
As a member, I'll provide you a roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. Starting with a cock from one breeder and a hen from another breeder, no problem. We can help you to turn your flock of hybrid crosses or mongrels into a pure family or strain, and show you how to continually improve that strain each generation. We'll start by showing you how to select your seed fowl and how to turn that seed fowl into a high-quality foundation strain. Our proven breeding programs and specialty courses are designed to take you step by step through the breeding process. And best of all, I'll be there to help you every step of the way.
We urge you to check it out. You have nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl. Okay, welcome to another episode of Bred to Perfection. I'm Kenny Troiano, founder of the Breeders Academy, and I'm here with my wife, Nancy. What's up?
Wife of founder. We need to change that up a little bit. I don't seem that important. I need to be more important.
Well, I am a little higher status than you, I think, 'cause
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
know.
founder. No.
You don't have to rub it in, I guess.
No, I wouldn't even be able to wake up in the morning and get my pants on without Nancy. That sounded bad, didn't it? That did
I
not
have
sound
no
good.
comment to that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No
no,
comment.
my point is I wouldn't be able to do it without her, especially now. And now that she's retired and helping me out, I'm realizing how much
How much I don't know.
no, well, at first, a little on the tech, but she's really getting better and better. So
Yeah, I delivered mail for 37 years. I wasn't inside staring at a computer, so I'm so computer illiterate. It's crazy.
you're learning it.
I'm
You're
getting
getting
better
faster
at
and faster.
it's coming along.
I'm not getting out of my chair every 2 seconds to help you.
Just every 3 seconds.
Yeah,
And
it's expanding.
I got to tell you guys a story. Okay, I've got a small talk story for you tonight. Speaking of tech savvy, right? So we're on our way up to LA and we're hitting traffic here and there. And so it's my job as co-captain, co-pilot, is to let him know when traffic is coming up and how long that traffic delay is going to be. And has it changed the ETA arrival time of our destination? Okay. So we're coming up on traffic. Of course, I told him, okay, we're coming up on traffic. He goes, okay, how long are we going to be in this traffic? And I'm trying to get my phone to tell me how long we're going to be in that traffic, or if there's a different way that we need to split off and go to miss the traffic and stuff. And I can't get my phone to do what I want it to do. And we have a screen on our car that tells us where to go. It's a navigation system that tells us where to go. So I'm not fast enough for him because I'm trying to figure out my phone. I'm getting really upset with my phone, frustrated. And meanwhile, he takes a quick glance down at the screen, that the navigation screen that we have inside the car. And then all of a sudden, my glasses fly off my head. I'm flying forward. I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And we came this close to rear-ending the car in front of us. And you want to explain why you almost killed us, Kenny?
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention, and there was it wasn't my fault. No, I was like, I'm sorry, man, I blew it. Thank God I don't know if we talked about this before or not. I know I talked to Frank about it and some other people, but I don't remember if we talked about it on the show. But the biggest part of that, the most amazing part of that, was how that car reacted, because I thought I had plenty of room with the car in front of me. I always leave a lot of room. I never drive close to people in front of me. I always give myself plenty of room. And so I'm flipping the thing. I didn't, the maps, trying to figure out what's ahead of us. And I really didn't think I was taking that much time. But all of a sudden, the car started making all these sounds, alarms, and lights were going off everywhere. And I look up, and this car in front of me is rushing at me so fast. And I swear to God, I just barely touched the brakes when the car jumped into action and stopped us just in time. That car was amazing, because I really do believe it wasn't for the car acting or doing what it did, I think we would have hit him. I think we would have hit him pretty good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, see, the thing of it is too, in the LA area and close to the LA area, people don't just come slow to a stop when somebody in front is stopping. They go up fast and just halt really quick.
They're all tailgating each other. They're all going real fast stop. You know what I mean? So you don't get, like in my truck's a lot higher. So I can see ahead of me a lot easier, and I can react faster. I can see what's going on. With the car, it's a little lower to the ground. And so I don't have that view that I had with the truck. And so even when people jump in front of me, I always still back up. I just let them in. I back up even more. And I really did think I had more time, but that surprised me pretty good. And yeah, it was like flashing lights, red lights all over the place. And then the car's brakes went on and had full control of the car. I was like, wow, that is awesome. That saved our life. I really think it did.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is last year we were renting, our truck is a little on the older side, and
Little.
occasionally we would rent a car to go on a road trip. And we get in these newer cars, and our car is over 20 years old. And we're like, how do you start this thing? Because there's no key, and all these bells and whistles. And we're like, oh, God, I miss my truck. This is nice and simple, right? But I am really happy for the technology that this car has because, yeah, that's great stuff. The bells and whistles were going off, and then it was like assisting him to stop in time. So it's very nice. Love it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost blew it. Like I said, I think it's next week. What's today? 21st to 28th of October. Brian Reeder's coming on. We're going to be talking about genetic variability. It's going to be a great topic. Probably one of the most important things you need to know when it comes to breeding and creating a strain and how to improve them. Without genetic variability, you wouldn't be able to improve them. You wouldn't be able to advance them. But also with genetic variability and genetic diversity, they can be your enemy too. A lot of things can pop up that you wouldn't expect. If you don't know what to look for, you wouldn't notice things that could actually hurt your family. But like I said, it's a good thing too, because that's the way you improve it. So it's going to be a really good topic. When I pitched it to him, I said, hey, what do you think? He's like, yeah, that sounds like a fun one to talk about. I'm hoping this month we're going to have Dr. Gallardo. I know he's going to come on like once a month. We just weren't sure what was going on this month. It's been a weird month all the way around for all of us. And so some of the topics we're going to cover that we have in line is how common poultry diseases undermine breeding efficiency, which I think is going to be really good. So we're going to talk about a lot of the common diseases and what to do about them, how to recognize them, and what to do about them. And then the other one I've been putting together would be poultry illnesses that break the bloodline. This is going to be a really good one, especially for breeders. So stay tuned. I'll let you know. Susie gets hold of me and gives me a date. I'll let you know when we're going to do it. Whether it's going to be on Friday or not, I don't know, because I kind of go on his schedule. Whatever works for him, because we're just glad to have him. We're blessed to have Dr. Gallardo. Peter Brown's going to come on. I think it's on November 7th. He's going to come on again. I haven't really talked about what we're going to discuss, but I'm sure it's going to be a great topic. So stay tuned for that as well.
Also, if you ever need to get a hold of him, here is his website address. If you guys need to get a hold of him, get some advice from him, or get some help with anything that's going on with your chickens, you can contact him there. Yep. Next.
You want to get that off the screen?
Yes. If we can find it.
Okay.
I was going to go to the next one. I think it's registration, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Registration. Here we go.
Okay. That's fine. Again, I want to welcome the new members. We've been getting members every week. Awesome. Really appreciate it. Make sure to begin with the Start Here pages. Understand that there's no deadlines. There's no falling behind or keeping up. Get to know the website. Take your time and get to know the website. Once you do, I used to like to tell my members, especially the new members, wait a good month before you decide to do a coaching call. Get to know the website. Get to know the programs on the website, start writing down some of your questions. And I'm sure as you go through the website, those questions will be, a lot of them will be answered, but what ends up not being answered, we can talk about on a coaching call. What's going on at your screen, Nancy? It's popping in and out.
I'm not seeing that here.
Really? You're not seeing that? I saw a flash and then I saw you go in and out. God, I hope we don't lose you, because that means you're going to come in here. Okay.
No.
Yeah. That would be a bummer.
Oh, God. I swear
she's
it's
got
not
cooties.
Me. I do, man.
Okay, again, not only do I want to welcome the new members, I'm hoping that you decide to become a member. If you want to join the Breeders' Academy, just go to www.breedersacademy.com. Once you join, you're going to have instant access to the website. You'll have access to the Founders Program, Masters Class videos, the Members Roundtables, and all the programs and courses on the website, which is a lot, okay? We have also the complete collection of audio and video podcasts. So a lot of the live shows, a lot of the archive stuff is going to be on there for you that's not on the front end these days. Daily articles, Monday through Friday, I put on daily articles. You'll enjoy those. And you'll get expert advice from Brian Reeder, Peter Brown, and Dr. Gallardo. We also, like I said, do coaching calls. So begin with the Start Here pages and go to www.breedersacademy.com. Not doing a roundtable today, but we will be doing one next week with Brian Reeder. So like I said, the topic on genetic variability, we're going to be talking about the basics of it. It's going to be a great topic, but we're going to go into the back end with the members on the website and talk about how that applies or how that works or how that affects the actual breeding program, such as the Founders Program. So I think you'll like that as well. So that's it, Nancy. That's all did I break a record? No.
No, but I want to remind you guys that the coaching calls are really good to have, and they are free to members. We don't charge extra for those coaching calls. So guys, that is a perk of the Breeders Academy for members only. Yep. There you go. Oh, real quick before we get started, just want to remind everybody that any questions that you have will be starred and answered at the end of the show so that we don't lose the momentum of Kenny's
That's
talking
what we said last time, and Nancy pulled some up, and she goes, I couldn't help it. It was relevant.
No, it was only one, and it was on the topic that we were talking about. I promise you. So I made an executive decision to go ahead and pull that up. So there you go. All right. So what we are talking about today, do you remember what the subject matter is today?
Do you?
I do. Okay. I'm testing you. Do you? I guess you
Right.
don't. All right. So then I will discuss it with you. All right. This is, I think, a really good question a lot of people actually come up with. It's, when is it time to reset your breeding program? What are the signs? And what are like the warning signs? When do you know that something's going on? Problem solving. We're going to be talking about problem solving as far as when do you need to do a new program, totally scrap your old program and start a new one? Or is it just a piece of your program that's screwing everything up, a method per se that's screwing you up? Time to reset. How do you know when it's time to reset? When do you know you are back on the right track? And the signs that show that you are in recovery. So there you go. And Kenny has all that information up in his little noggin, and he's going to share it with you.
That's why I wear a hat, so it doesn't fall out. Dumb dad jokes. Yeah, kids.
All right, so let's start with when to reset your breeding program.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how to when to reset and what to look for. So when to reset, when you start seeing faults that you can't fix without doing outside blood. That's a big one, because there are times when you get into a rut and nothing you do is improving the family, and that ends up being where everybody goes. They go, okay, I'm having problems, it's not working itself out, so I go and get outside blood. My problem with that is they don't wait long enough. They think just because as soon as they have a problem right away, they want to add new blood. They think the infusion, the outcross, or the cross is what's going to fix it, and a lot of times it's not. But today we're going to be talking about why sometimes, you're just not going to make the progress that you need to make. And I know you're going to be tempted to add outside blood. Make sure that's going to be the last resort. And then the other one is when you're not making progress from year to year. No matter what you do, they're not getting better. Sometimes they may even be getting worse, but they're definitely not getting better. And if the genes aren't there, the genes aren't there. Okay. And there are some things you can do. There's some things we do in the Breeders Academy and on the Founders Program that can draw out some genes that aren't normally or not normally being expressed or not being expressed as they should be. And we can maybe do some things and maybe get them to express genes that they weren't expressing before. But if you've tried everything, then we may have to reset. We're talking about the breeding program, but basically we're talking about resetting the strain and what is the breeding program that you're going to use to do that. Okay. And the other one is when they simply just don't express the traits that you need. And that can happen, and a lot of times what happens is, and this is genetic drift, is sometimes genetic drift in the way of, let's say, there's a program I have on the Breeders Academy. I actually took it off, and I'm going to put it back on just so you members know. It's called Improvement Through Reduction. And it's one of the best ways. Let's say you're not making improvement. It's one of the best ways to actually kickstart your family. If you have decent birds and you can weed them down to the best birds, get rid of everything else, and re-kickstart the family with those few birds, genetic drift can be something that works in your favor. Okay. Trying to see how, because we're going to talk about this in a minute, so I don't want to get too heavily in it. So that would be one of the ways to fix it. But that's how, what I was going to say is, that's how a lot of people get in trouble, because they reduce the number of birds to a small number, but they're reducing, what they end up with is the wrong birds. The birds that aren't as good, the birds that are lacking, and then they try to move forward with those. And a lot of times what happens is that's when you start lacking the genes that you need, that they're just not producing the genes that you were hoping they would, because you got rid of the wrong birds, and now these birds don't have it. And so when they move forward, they're only going to be able to move forward with the genes that they do have. And you're just not going to create genes that weren't there. I'm getting really distracted. Do you see that flash in the screen?
I did.
What is that?
Yeah, I looked down at my phone because it's a delay on my phone to see if I could see it, and I can't. It's like I don't know what it is, but you don't.
Is it the whole screen, or is it just you?
The whole screen.
The whole screen.
This computer. I don't know. You're not pixelating, or the sound is good.
Okay.
So, and I'm looking at the Wi-Fi, and that looks good. So yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it does look good. Oh, you know what? I don't. It's StreamYard, so it can't be us. Let me.
Yeah. Oh, now you just froze up. I think you probably are doing something.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay. Okay.
You froze up for a second.
That was me. Okay. Well, I went from Wi-Fi to the hard wire.
Oh, so. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just doing this show by myself. All right, let's go.
I may be going in there. Okay. So let's talk. We're running out of time here. So let's talk about the warning signs. What do you need to see that shows you that you either need to restart or reset your breeding program, or you need to just get new birds? Okay. Or you need to find a way to move forward with the birds you have. Okay.
Right. Time to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
First is what you got to do.
I think the biggest one would be lack of health and vigor in the offspring, because you can't create a family with birds that are sick. And it's all the birds. Now, if we get some healthy birds out of it, then those are the birds we can move forward with. There's no reason to scrap everything unless all the birds are sick. But if we're producing offspring and every year we're not getting any that are showing some health and vigor, if they're always sick and dying and having issues, and they're just not growing and developing like they should be, and you've done everything right, then that's a family that's having issues that you might have to either change the way you're doing things, or you're going to have to start with new birds. Okay. Now, health and vigor, or health in general, if we're looking at birds that are getting sick, now what we can do, and sometimes this helps and sometimes it doesn't, is we might be able to use medications to get them over the hump, get them going in a way that we can at least get offspring on the ground, and then little by little work them off the medications. But if you're constantly having to use the medications and you just can't get them off of there, how are we going to breed towards disease resistance? How are we going to breed birds that are naturally healthy? Because once you take the birds off, let's say you buy a trio from somebody, and a lot of times they'll tell you, these are the medications I use, this is what I do for this is what I do for that. You may have to do that, to get them going until you get offspring on the ground that you can breed and select through them so you could find the healthy ones to move forward with. But if it just never gets there and they're always sick, I don't know how you can build a family over time and actually improve them if you're dealing with diseases. And some of those can be inheritable. A lot of the diseases are genetic. Okay. And if we can get them to a point when they're resistant and get them off the medications, we're going to be much, much better off. And so that would be the one thing. If for some reason, and then there's times when we're using the medications, we're doing everything we can possibly do, but they still are not getting better. To me, that would be definitely a family that I would probably want to scrap and start over with something else. But if I'm going year after year and I'm not getting any offspring that are better than the parents, especially when it comes to health, and they're just getting worse and worse as we go, then I might just scrap the family and start over. I would not want to raise a family and deal with that every single year, having to provide, medications and vaccinations and wormers all the time. I want a family that's strong, and I want one that's bulletproof, that belongs in my yard, that I don't have to do anything and they survive. That's what I want. If I have to baby them, I don't want those birds. Go ahead.
Okay, there's a caveat to having to use medications to get your birds through a rough spot. First of all, I suggest that you guys, all the members for the Breeders Academy, that you go back and watch Dr. Gallardo's episodes, because he will educate you on all the different viruses and diseases that we have seen out there, that we have done in episodes, and that educates you on what to look for. It helps you to decipher if this is a simple virus that you can get over, or is this a disease, brought on by hereditary traits, things like that. There it goes again. I just saw it. And the thing that I think of when I think of, maybe you use medications to get them over the hump, as Kenny says, how long are you going to be using those medications for? Are you just perpetuating more weak and sick birds? That's a hard decision you guys are going to have to make. How deep do you want to go into those medications to get your birds well?
I don't know about you. Okay, go ahead.
And then two, you have to make sure, if you want to be a responsible breeder, you have to make sure that the ones that you do pick to go forward are the healthiest, among other selection periods. They have to be the healthiest that you have to move forward with, because if you don't, you're going to have problems throughout the lifespan of your strain.
You just can't create a family with sick birds. And that's another reason why people add outside blood, because outcrossing, hybrid vigor, heterosis, however you want to look at it, hides a lot of things, and it hides sickness. A lot of people want to blame like inbreeding and inbreeding depression on a family that's lacking or getting sick easily and all that. Although that can happen, especially when you're not selective in the birds that you're deciding to breed from. But I think that's the biggest problem, is that they're just not selective enough. They're not selecting out of all the birds that are produced, all the offspring that are produced. They're not selecting the handful that are the healthiest, because you just got to get to the point when you're not. Man, that light is distracting. You just want to get to a point when they're not expressing sickness, So, and if you're ever wondering what you really have, and you are dealing with medications, and you want to see how good your fowl are, stop giving them the medications and vaccinations to see where you're at. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people going to find out that the birds aren't as healthy as they should be, that what they think they have, they don't have. So get off those medications as fast as you can. You were asking how long should it take. You only use the medications for as long as you need to. Try to give them less. Try to, not so often. Maybe, I don't know, just try to keep it to a minimum. But I would try to get them off fast again. Do what I did. Tony throwing all my medications away. I went cold turkey and lost half my birds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm glad he did now, because I haven't had sick chickens forever. I have no medications out there, no wormers whatsoever. And my birds are the healthiest I've seen than anybody I know. So, but yeah. So when you're dealing with chronic illnesses, or you're seeing poor recovery rates, that would be a time to maybe reset your program, maybe start over with some different birds. I'm going to say this over and over again, because sometimes this is the answer. and that would be to outcross or bring in new blood. But I will always say this too, that never bring in the new blood right into the foundation of your fowl. Always, if you think that's what's going to fix them, whether it's a defect or whether it's a sickness, then create a subline, and you can bring in the new blood, work with it, and then hopefully they'll improve. Maybe by the time you get to a point when they're, again, showing the purity of blood that we need, the uniformity, the consistency, the predictability, and repeatability, by the time you get there, maybe the foundation line fixed itself. If not, then you scrap the foundation. This becomes your new foundation. And I'm going to be working on in November a program that's on how to do a proper subline. We talk about a lot, but I've never really laid it out on the show, but we'll be doing it for our members inside the Breeders' Academy on how to actually do a subline that has the possibilities of improving, fixing, and helping you maintain your family. So another one would be dramatic drop in hatchability and viability. Okay, so here's the deal. Hatchability is inheritable. Now, fertility is not. A lot of things can cause infertility, where it's the environment, it's them being overweight, could be nutrition, could be health, it could be age. There's a lot of things that affect fertility. Okay. But hatchability is a bigger problem because it can't be just fixed by just changing the cock. It's inheritable. And if you're not on it right away and you start producing offspring off of hens that is able to produce some offspring, but not to the level that she should be. And then from those offspring that are produced, some of them might be able to advance the family where some might not. And then little by little, you get to a point when they're not able to reproduce themselves at all. So hatchability is a huge problem only because it is inheritable. So if you see hens are not producing really good offspring, or they're not producing offspring at all, or not producing as many offspring as they should, that's a hen that I would get rid of. That's a big sign for indication of poor mitochondrial DNA, which I think is the backbone, the foundation of every strain. The hen is the matriarch of the strain, but it's the mitochondrial DNA that she has, and a lot of hens are different, okay, that's going to make the difference on the overall quality and development and advancement of the strain. What's Melissa saying, Nancy?
Okay, sorry. I hope that didn't distract you there when I pulled that up, but I thought this was really important. Going back to medications, Melissa saying it works. I followed Kenny's program and dealt with a tremendous weakness and disease in my birds, and it took time. But I'm proud to be med-free with my birds. Yeah, cool. It's so much easier to be med-free.
And it's easier than you think. It does take a little time for some people. I've had some members say they fixed their fowl, got them off the medications, and got them in good order in a couple years, maybe even ones that I had some that say 3. Mine took longer. I think it was like 5 or 6 years before I felt like I wasn't still seeing the effects of the diseases on my yard. When Tony threw those away, I just went cold turkey. I think the first year I lost more than half of the birds, and then every year it was just a little less until I got, like, it was 5 or 6 years later, and I'll never forget it. Walking in the kitchen, and all my offspring were looking good. They were about quail size. My adult fowl were in good order, and I was looking around, and I'm going, wow, I think it's been a year or so since I've had a sick chicken. I haven't had to medicate them. I don't vaccinate. I haven't wormed anything. And then every year it just got better. Then the strain progressed. Then the strain got better each generation after that. But when they were fighting the diseases, I was barely keeping them alive, if you ask me, Yeah.
It was kind of scary there for a little bit, but I mean, faith be told, it all worked out. I've got quite a few members in the Philippines who were like, Kenny, I hope you're saying, I hope what you're saying is right, because I'm taking a big chance. I said, just follow my plan, because I show them how to do it, and just trust in the process. Know that, they're going to take a little bit of a hit at first, and you got to be willing to do that for sure. But if you follow my directions, you don't, bring in new blood, and you watch who comes into your yard, and
You cull the ones that are sick and breed only to the ones healthy. And I'm not talking about the ones that were sick and got healthy. I'm talking about the ones out of all the birds, and we're always about the numbers here. So if you produce a lot of offspring, that's going to give you a chance to select through them and see the ones that have good resistance. So we're looking for the ones, and sometimes it can only be a small number, but we're looking for the ones that never got sick. Okay. Yeah. Those are the ones you want to breed to, because the ones that were sick and got better, that's acquired immunity. We want the ones that have resistance, genetic resistance to those diseases. And you only find that out. Like Brian always tells me, put them all together, let them eat all of them, drink out of the same water and eat out of the same bowls. And, let open up the barns, and, he's like, open up the fences, let them all, intermingle. That's when you're going to find who the sick ones are and who are the healthy ones. But once you find those healthy ones, they're bulletproof, and they're going to produce offspring that are bulletproof, and you'll never have to worry about it. The only thing that would change that is if you bring in a new disease that they're not used to, and you start the process all over again. Yeah.
Yeah. So Max is saying the savings in medication alone is worth the membership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa says 100%, Max.
Yeah.
That's great.
So hatchability is a big one, because if you can't hatch them, you can't produce them. Fertility is an easy one to fix, if you ask me. Okay. Repetitive expression of undesirable traits and defects. Now, if you get a defect here and there, it's not a big deal. You just cull them as you see them. But what's happening a lot of times is a lot of people don't know about the defects that do exist. Do we still have that chart here? I probably took it off. I need to. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now, I have a program on the website for identifying and determining what defects your birds may have, it has pictures and everything, how to fix them and how to improve your family that have defects. Now, I think it says 80 defects, but I actually think there's 88. I've had a number of members. I tried to count them a number of times. I keep coming up with a different number every time I do it. It's like I've lost the ability to count things. But from what I understand, there's probably 88 defects. I should just put numbers on them, on each one of them. And there's a lot of them that you just don't know about, that you either have never seen, don't know about, or you don't think are a big deal. Okay. And that's a lot of defects, actually. Now, there are more common ones like duck toe and curled toe and split wing, split tail, ride tail, squirrel tail, stilted legs. I'm just, crooked breastbone, all kinds of stuff. Sunken eye. I mean, there's a lot of them that we see more often, but some people just don't think they're a big deal. They see the color of the bird and they think that's more important. I think the performance of the bird's more important. So they dismiss the defects that are showing up. They dismiss a poor carriage or poor conformation because they think that's secondary, when they think, but I'm all about the complete package. I want them to have good color. I want them to have good conformation, carriage station. I want them to have good temperament, performance ability, whatever it is, whatever your birds are. I think they should have the whole thing. Yes, that means you're going to probably select, out of all the birds you produce, you're probably going to select a handful of birds and move them forward. It's not going to be all of them, but that's what you want anyways. It's the standouts that's going to improve and advance the strain to the next level. It's not all of them anyways. So it's the complete package I care about. But let's go back to the defects a little bit. If they're just expressing defects here and there, just cull them as you see them. But once you start seeing, you get to a point when that's all they're producing is the defect, then you got a problem. Can you improve that defect or eliminate that defect? Only if you have birds that don't express the defect, and especially birds that don't carry it. Now, you could add new blood. We're back to the adding new blood or outside blood, but then you're going to have to create a subline. And understand this too, that anytime you add new blood, crossing, infusion, outcrossing, I don't care if it's from the original breeder you got them from. I don't care if they have the same name. I don't care if they have the same color. I don't care if you think somehow they're related. If they're off your farm for any length of time, your birds are genetically, your birds are different than theirs. So when you infuse their blood into yours, you've actually created fowl that are not, they're no longer the family they once were. Let's put it that way. Okay. And even though sometimes they'll look the same, trust me, there's some detrimental detrimental genes, deleterious genes. There's some faults in there. There's some genetic illnesses lingering in some of those birds. So when you bring outside blood, sometimes they don't show right away. Hybrid vigor kicks in, hides a lot of stuff, but it's only temporary. It's not something you can rely on or repeat. And you can't even improve hybrid vigor. But over time, after you start actually creating a family, working towards that uniformity and consistency, you're going to start seeing traits that were hidden from that outcross maybe 3 or 4 years later that are going to start showing up, and you're like, oh, what's this? And because you forgot what you did, you're not going to understand it, and you're going to be back where you were or in a worse situation than you were before. So yeah, don't ever dismiss a defect. You see a defect, take care of it right away. Okay, sometimes it may mean getting rid of a lot of birds, but you're better off. The saddest part for me, it was when, I'll tell you 2 stories. One was when Tony Seville, my mentor. He used to just live down the road from me for many years. I hung out with him quite a bit, learned a lot. But it took a little while for him to actually get to my farm and look at my damn birds, okay? I was always going to house. Huh?
He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy. Okay. So I was always at his house learning. And finally I talked him into, you need to come and check on my birds. And he's like, okay. And
a kiss of death.
And, yeah, he walked up my yard. He was quiet for a little while. And I was so proud of him. I was like, Tony's going to see how well I take care of him. I've got every breed under the sun, so I wasn't expecting what I got. And he was like looking around a little quiet. And he goes, that's a nice bird, but you got to watch out for stork leg. Stork leg goes, yeah, that one right there. That's stork leg. That's a big fault. This is why you don't want it. This is the problems it could cause. I go, oh, okay. Then he walks over here and he goes, see these 2 birds over here? I'm seeing duck toe. Are they related? I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, that could be a problem because now you're going to perpetuate it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he started just picking on all my birds, in a nice way, I guess. And I was getting depressed by the minute. And then when he did that thing with the medication, start throwing my medications away. By the time he left, I was destroyed. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I having birds? I just want to get rid of everything. But I didn't, I just kept on going, did what he said, and everything improved over time. But and the second story was, and this happened a couple of times, where I had a member and I went to help him pick his birds. And we were walking out to his yard, we were just talking, chatting. And I happened to see a bird walk by, and it was a hen, a pullet, I think, had duck toe. And I was like, oh, okay. And I walk over to the teepee, and that bird had duck toe. And he's talking. I actually told him, you know what? Let's wait a minute. Let me look at your birds over. And I didn't see one bird on this whole farm that didn't have duck toe. And then I had to break the news to him that what he was going to have to do, because I couldn't find any bird. That means I couldn't improve that. That means he had to bring either outside blood or he had to start over. And honestly, I cannot remember what he ended up doing. This is so many years ago. I don't know. Maybe he didn't even tell me. And then I had another one, same thing, where I went on his yard and he had squirrel tail and rye tail all over the place. And he was told to select for that trait, that it made for a stronger bird, for a better bird. And I was like, no, So, and I couldn't find anything to fix his. And so I said, okay, I did tell him that the rye tail, we got to get rid of right away. Don't even mess with those. The squirrel tail, the ones that are really bad, let's get rid of those. And let's look for the ones that are the closest to being the way they should. And let's start there. And he did improve them and did get better. And that was good. So yeah, defects is a big one. Don't take them for granted.
Well, then too, there's yard blindness. I see that a lot. People will post on social media how lovely their bird is. And some aspects of the bird are lovely to see, but we see things because we're not in his yard all the time. We will see things they'll be like, whoa, hitting us like a ton of bricks, that they're going, oh, really? I didn't see that before.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you don't trust your eyeballs anymore because you don't know what you're missing.
I had a member actually tell me, well, I want you to come and check out my birds, but I'm afraid for you to do it because I think you're going to find faults. And I go, well, that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need eyes from the outside to come and check out your birds and have somebody who knows what to look for, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I'm going to give my honest evaluation and my opinion and what you should do. And then it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. So, but the other one is offspring that are bearing the parents. This is a big one. And I think a lot of people take it for granted because they just produce offspring. They're not really evaluating them very well. They might be somewhat selective in the ones they actually breed, but for the most part, they're actually producing lower numbers. So it makes them feel like they have to breed to everything. And a lot of times they're not breeding birds that are better than the parents because that's the only way you're progressing. That's one of the biggest, I want to say guides, but determinants, I guess, as far as whether you're going in the right direction is if you look at the offspring, if they're better than the parents, you're progressing. If they're about the same, then you're kind of staying the same. We might have to change things up a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. But if the offspring are definitely worse than the parents, there's some serious things going on. Either the parents are not good producers. There's a lot of genetic diversity or genetic variability lingering around in there. There's a lot of defects in there, a lot of sickness hiding within the gene pool. And you're not producing enough birds to select properly from, so you're not finding the ones that are bearing the parents to move them forward. So if you're ever wondering whether you're going in the right direction, look to see or evaluate your offspring and see if they're better than the parents. And that brings up a good point too, because if the offspring are better than the parents, do you breed the parents to the offspring? Because if you're breeding parents that are not as good as the offspring, you're actually breeding backwards. We never want to breed backwards. So we're always looking to move forward. And that's what the Founders Program does for you as well. It shows you how to always progress your strain generation after generation, year after year. Okay. Because if you're breeding backwards, you're actually going in the wrong direction. And if you're breeding birds that are not as, like, bringing in outside blood into yours, if they're worse than yours are going to bring them down and your offspring are going to be worse overall. Even with hybrid vigor, it can only do so much. But if their birds, if their birds are better than yours, do you breed them into yours? My thing is, if they're better than yours, why don't you just go with those and get rid of yours? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because whenever you have birds that are worse, like you have two pairs and one's worse than the other, how do I say this? I'm trying to not say the wrong thing because I'm thinking Founders Program all the way. There is a part of the Founders Program that will help you deal with that. And for my members, you know what it is. It's stage 2. That will help you deal with that. So, okay. What's the matter?
The vagueness continues.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, so
you got to become a Breeders Academy member, and then you'll know what we're talking about. Okay,
yeah,
I'm good.
Okay, one more thing. I just want to say this is, if the offspring, having the offspring better than the parents is a sign of progression. That's all you need to know. That you're determinant whether you're going in the right direction. You have something green here. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I've got a scenario for you.
Okay.
Okay, so your offspring isn't moving forward as well as you like. Okay, so you're seeing after like the second, the third offspring of the same parents, and they're still not progressing as you like. At that point, is that when you decide that you need to change it up, that pair is not working? I mean, how long do you go? How many offspring do you produce before you decide that I got to scrap this and I got to move on to something else?
Again, we're back to, are the offspring better than the parents? If the
the offspring are not better than the parent,
then you either got to scrap the birds you're working with, or you got to start over with new birds.
Yeah, but how many pairs of offspring do you go before you decide to scrap?
Okay. So if I produce offspring that are not bearing the parents, what would you do?
I would try one more mating, and if it still didn't work, then I would scrap that pair.
Okay, so you're not going to breed the offspring that are worse, right? So you're going to scrap them, right? So now you breed the pair again, and they don't produce offspring that are better than them again.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do I want to wait generation after generation holding on to that pair? I mean, I thought unless they're really young and immature, and they are mature and they look pretty good, but they're not producing the offspring that I want. Chances are, would I want to wait another year?
Okay, you're talking like after the first mating.
Sometimes, I mean,
Oh,
why
okay.
wait sometimes? Okay, if all of them are bad and you didn't get any that were good, maybe I might not wait. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah. Or what I might do is breed that cock and hen to different pairs and see what they produce. Maybe the combination was wrong. Yeah, I might do that. But I never want to breed to offspring that are worse than the parents, because, if they're worse, I just got to scrap that offspring and either start over or change the combination, the pairing. Okay.
Would you
So
say, I know this is off the cuff, but would you say that when that happens, so that pair doesn't produce good offspring, they're just not, and they're of the same family, they're just not
that's what makes it
nicking?
worse. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Well,
not
if
nicking
they're just part
together.
of the, Nancy, if they're part of the same family, nicking isn't the problem. Nicking is
Okay.
something you see when you crossing unrelated birds.
Okay.
Okay, to get the hybrid vigor you're looking for. To me, that's a nick. The fact that they're related, we're not looking for compatibility. We're looking at progression all the way.
Okay.
Okay, so the only time you could even look in that direction, what you're saying, is if I'm breeding offspring to their aunt or uncle. Okay, because half half of that bird is outside, half that bird is inside. That's not progressing the family. That's every time I breed offspring back to its aunt or uncle, I start it over. Okay,
Even though they're in the same family, that's still
but
starting
they're
over.
not fully in the family. An aunt,
Okay.
like, think of your aunt or your uncle. Only half of his side of his family is part of your family. See what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the case most of the time. Okay, so if a family can't reproduce their own kind, that's a big one. So we're dealing with uniformity and consistency. That means we have a lot of genetic diversity, a lot of genetic variability. There's no fixation. We're dealing with a lot of gene flow and infusion. Okay, and that's the Founders Program. That's why we have the cleanup process, because it helps clean up the birds enough to get them into the foundation stage to where they are reproducing their own kind. But the better the birds are, the better you're going to be, and the better progress you're going to make, and the faster it's going to go. But if you're dealing with birds with a lot of issues, chances are it's going to take a long time, or you're just not going to get there. Inconsistent type and conformation. Yeah, that's like breeding. Now, understand that type and conformation, performance ability, all those things are polygenic traits. Those are multi-gene traits that take a long time to fix. And the only way you actually make real progress is through inbreeding and breeding to the highest intensity. So whenever I'm breeding two birds, they're unrelated, and one bird has these traits. Let's say he's got great type, but she has great conformation. Okay. That's like having contrasting characteristics. So when I breed them together, I'm not going to get perfect offspring. I'm going to get offspring all over the place. And the only way to improve those is to find the few that are the closest to what I would say is a complete bird, because you're not going to get the perfect bird out of those. You're going to get something that's close. And then at that point, I'm going to breed those to generation after generation until they start becoming more complete. I start seeing really good type and conformation, but crossing two birds with contrasting characteristics, whether it's type, conformation, performance ability, temperament, all that, I'm not going to find the perfect bird from that. I'm going to get everything under the sun. Melissa, type and conformation first before color. Color, yeah, I agree totally. Type, okay. Health, vigor, type, and conformation are number one. Those are the ones. Those are the non-negotiables that have to be right. Okay, that's what you put most of your attention. Color for me is always last, because, like Brian says, color is easily fixed. I thought there was some colors that were harder to fix, and I'm finding that most colors are actually a lot easier to fix than I thought. The only colors that are really difficult are the ones that are, and there's not very many of them when you think about it, are the ones that have multiple genes that create the color. Like blue lace, Wyandottes, those kind of birds, those are very difficult. But for the most part, like gamefowl, American games, they're really simple, So I can fix those colors as long as I'm not breeding two birds with totally contrasting colors that are far from their color groups. Then I shouldn't have a problem. But if they're a little off, I can fix color over time. But I can't fix um, conformation and type as fast as I can fix color. Okay, and a lot of times with color, it's just it's a matter. I'm sorry, it's a matter of finding the right hen that makes it happen. We found this out a couple of years ago working with Brian, because when we were talking about silver duckwings and golden duckwings, and we're like, if you have a silver duckwing that has some red in it, then it's almost like the kiss of death as far as creating a new, improving the color to a point when they're pure silver duckling. And we just found out through Brian that we were all selecting the wrong hens,
Yeah.
So it was a matter of finding the right hen, and it made all the difference. And progress was actually pretty fast after that, And we're finding that's the case with most colors, that it's a matter of finding the right hen. What was Max saying?
Oh, he's saying Andalusians.
Yeah, they're very difficult. Well, anything blue is always difficult. Yeah, blue's always
so
difficult.
Neat.
Blues are awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
But they can be very difficult to breed, and because you can't really perfect them. You can't really. There's always going to be variation. They're incomplete dominant trait. They've got some other genetic factors that just make it really difficult to get them to a point when they're uniform, consistent every time. It just doesn't happen. I admire the breeders who breed them, especially the ones who understand what they're dealing with and know what to do. Okay. But I don't usually recommend a breeder to start with blues. Okay.
No. That's for advanced people.
Yeah. So we were talking about contrasting characteristics, and like birds that have different combs, different leg colors, different feather colors, different type, all kinds of things. It's really difficult to progress the family when all the offspring always have contrasting characteristics. And I always go back to the Founders Program in that you just didn't clean them up properly, because I'm a firm believer that you can create a family from any cock and hen. Just know that it could take some time. Sometimes they're not going to end up being the birds you thought they were going to be. They're going to go in a different direction, maybe usually because you don't understand the genetic factors. So if you understand the traits that the bird's carrying, you understand the genetic factors of those traits, then you have a pretty good idea of where you can go or where you will go. And you have to decide from there, is that what you want? Is that going to be okay? But if you're just guessing all the time, you'll never get there. It's just not going to happen,
Yeah, you can't guess when you become a breeder. You have to know.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
That's the nice thing of understanding, evolutionary biology, genetics, all that. That when you look at two birds, you automatically can see in your mind what makes up those birds, and that I can or cannot breed this cock to this hen, and if I do, I'll have a pretty good idea what I'm going to get. Okay, now. We select towards the phenotype, so all we can do is select from what we see. That's our determinant on what direction they hopefully will go. It will give us mostly what we're looking for, but the genetic variability, the genetic diversity comes from the genotype, the things that are hiding within the bird that tends to pop up here and there as variations, and then from there you just decide, is it a trait that I want to perpetuate, or is it a trait that I want to eliminate? Is it a trait that's a monogenic trait where I can easily either select for it or select against it by culling it? Or is it a polygenic trait that's going to take me time? So that's as a breeder, that's the tools that we use to determine their progression, their opportunity, and whether it's going to be a lost cause or something that we can move forward with. I hate to say it, but most people are just speculating. They're just guessing because they just don't understand what they're looking at, or they think they're going to get a blending of the two. Okay. The other thing is if that may make me want to start over, if I have a particular breed and they don't represent their breed, whether it's how they look, how they act, or how they perform, then that's a problem. That I have to determine whether I'm going to move forward with them, or if I'm going to start over with something else, or if I need to add new blood to make it work and start all over with a new program. Okay. Layers need to lay a lot of eggs. Broilers need to grow fast and a lot of meat. Dual purpose have to do both well. Okay. Sport birds need to do sporty things, if you know what I mean. Okay. If they're not matching or representing their breed, then what are you doing? Okay. That would be for a big determinant for me to whether I'm going to try to improve them from where they are, or if I'm going to add new blood, or I'm going to start with something new.
Number 10.
Yeah.
Lack of fixation.
Sorry. Of desirable
fixation.
trait. Yeah. I mean, if you can't get to the point when they're repeating themselves and they're like uniform, consistent, and they're not repeating themselves, then that goes back to, are we progressing the strain? Are they getting better? Because if they can't repeat themselves and they don't represent their breed or represent the strain, then we're just spinning our wheels. And it's just, we got to, and it may take a couple years to realize whether that's a deal or not. So, because the cleanup process within the Founders Program, part of that, which is a 3-stage process, part of that has some inbreeding, which is going to help you with the fixation part of it. And if after that, they're just not getting to the point of fixation and you're not able to lock in those genes, then you got to say, okay, what am I doing? I got the wrong birds. They're just not improving. They have too much genetic diversity. They don't represent their breed. They just keep producing off birds. And I'm going to have to reevaluate whether those are going to be proper birds. Okay. So how much time do we have? Okay. So let's see if I can speed through this.
None. All right. Okay. So now that you've gotten through all the problems and doom and gloomed us to death, how are we going to see the light?
Okay. So you want to say I've kind of given you some of them already, whether you're going to eliminate them, try to improve them from where they are, or whether you want to add new blood and start over. But we kind of need to go back to the foundation of the program itself. And we need to sometimes say, okay, the strain as a whole, or the birds I'm working with as a whole, just aren't getting me where I want to go. But if I look them over real good and I say, okay, out of 100 birds, which cock and hen are the closest to what I'm looking for? Is there any potential there? So then I pick a cock and hen, which now becomes my Adam and Eve, and I start over with that, and I eliminate everything else. And I use the program, which I call improvement through adduction. Make sure, now I would actually hold on to a handful of birds just in case. And you can even do some test matings where you're actually breeding, a few pairs to see what you get, and then go with the one that's actually producing the birds you're looking for, so that you're not, putting yourself in a corner and getting everything and it didn't work and then you're nowhere. Sometimes it does take having multiple pairs as a test mating, or maybe altering the pairs with different mates to see what they produce. But sometimes it's a matter of getting down to the smallest viable number of your flock, get rid of everything else, and starting over with the Adam and Eve. And sometimes that, I'm going to say a lot of times that works. Strain goes in a whole different direction than you were expecting, better than you ever thought, and you're off to the races. Pick the wrong birds, you're actually going the opposite way, and you actually, it's time to just get rid of them and start over. So, and I usually tell my members, just do that and then start with the Founders Program. Okay. So, and that goes back to the next one, which would be tighten up your selection. So it's really important to be more selective at this point. Don't tolerate anything. Don't accept anything. When you start having problems like this, you need to be very selective and select the few that have the best qualities, the best traits, that are the healthiest, so that you can move forward. Because any of those that don't have that, it's going to drag them down, and you're just not going to get there. So it's really important to tighten up your selection. Test mating, record keeping, you're going to be doing that. I suggest that all the time anyways. So whether you're starting the strain, you want to do some test mating. Whether you're going to the cleanup process of the founders program, you want to do some test matings. If you're looking for the birds that you want to clone, you want to do some test matings. If you're starting over, you want to test mate those birds and make sure those are the ones you need to start over with. So, and then just keep really good records and just make sure that you're always recording what you want to remember, compare, or measure. Okay. And do it in a way that you're not going to lose the records, that you're always going to be able to find them, have them date it, whatever you need to do to keep track of everything. And then again, just always breed towards uniformity. You're breeding, and I usually do that by breeding to the complete package and making sure the birds that I'm breeding are the closest to representing the breed. I think that's so important. And then always breed with a purpose. A lot of people breed out of emotion because they like the bird. It's a favorite of birds. It's like a pet. No, you never want to do that. You always want to breed the birds that have what you're looking for, but always breed for a particular purpose, trying to meet a particular function, and making sure that the birds are meeting your criteria every time you go forward. Okay, I'm just go ahead.
Yeah, well, you guys got to think about this. That favorite bird of yours that you just think is so awesome, that does have, let's do something easy like a rye tail. It can cost you a lot later. So you've got to make that hard decision. Fine, make him a pet, put him on another side of the yard, and he's your buddy, but keep him out of your breeding program. So
yeah, some defects like that are very detrimental. It doesn't take much. And the only other thing I'd say is I'm not fond of outcrossing or infusion or changing the bloodline in any way, but sometimes you get to a point when they're just not progressing, they're not getting better, you're not making the progress that you were looking for, and sometimes it's either scrap the whole family or bring in birds that might be able to improve them, and but understand that you do that with a subline and you're always starting over every time. You're not continuing the family, you're not improving the family, you're changing the family. Anytime someone says, yeah, I've got a pure family, I've had them for 30 years, I only add blood every 5 or 6 years to refresh them. No, they didn't refresh nothing. They changed them. They're not the birds they used to be. So they can't say, I got these birds from so-and-so, their original bloodline from so-and-so. I just refresh them now and then with really good birds, people I trust. Okay, whatever. Okay, that's not improving them. That's changing them. So they're not the birds they once were. It just shows me they don't know what they're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I really like what Max says here. What you tolerate is what you will have.
That's that's the problem too, is a lot of people are tolerating things they shouldn't be tolerating.
We haven't really discussed this part of it, and I'm really curious to hear what you say. You're knee deep into a program. It may not be the Founders program, because I think the Founders program of the Breeders Academy is airtight in following the stages, but you're following somebody else's program or one that you've made up yourself, which has methods in it. We haven't.
That's what you say, Nancy.
We have stated in other shows the difference between a program and a method. Okay, methods are things that you do inside of a program. They're not, you do this method and this is all you do is that method over and over and over. Making sense so far?
You don't want to do that.
Okay, that's making sense so far.
I don't know if it is or not. I think you're misleading because the way I heard. Okay,
let me finish.
Because you're saying it wrong, I think.
When you're in a program, you're doing a series of methods. Can you figure out where you're going wrong by doing a method at the wrong time within your program, and then and that's where your problem lies?
Well, I mean, doing the wrong method at the wrong time can cause a problem. But your ultimate determinant is the phenotype of the birds. What are they producing? Are they progressing? Are they getting better each generation? That's your criteria right there. Now I see methods all the time. People are showing me, or I run into methods all the time. And I haven't found one that's better than the Founders program. And they all have serious holes in them. some of them are just made up. Some of them are methods that they think are programs, like line breeding. They think that's a breeding program. No, that's a method. There's a lot of things that have to be done before you start line breeding, and there's a lot of things you have to do after you line breed. Okay. Clan mating. They like clan mating as a program. Now, I will almost say that is a program, but most people use it wrong. It's one of those programs that it works great for an established family that is coming uniform and consistent, already has been worked through and improved. And it's a great maintenance program, but I would never use, and I've never seen anybody being able to do it, where they use a clan mating system to actually create a family or improve a family. Improvement, when takes place, takes a long time. If you don't give up and add new blood to it, okay, it can take a long time. I'm talking about years and years. And if you're working with birds with a lot of issues, a lot of genetic diversity, genetic variability, contrasting characteristics, they haven't been cleaned up, then improvement is impossible. Okay. But it's a great maintenance program. I would never use it to create an improved family. Think of another program. Some of them, like the 5/8 method, which was kind of showed its face a couple of years ago, and some people are using it as a true breeding program. It is a true breeding program. It's used by cattle breeders to improve meat yields, and it's one of the only things I know that can improve hybrid vigor, but it takes multiple generations to do it. Why would you want to spend multiple generations trying to improve hybrid vigor with offspring you're not going to even see for like 5 or 6 years? Okay, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't work like that. Nobody can ever do it to a point where they're actually seeing the progress they want. And why would they do that for one generation? And then have to start all over again? It's not a create a family or improve a family type of program. It has a particular purpose. So 5/8 is not good. It's not for chickens especially. I'm trying to think of some of the others. The 7/8 method, the trio method. They just don't. They get you to a point, but they don't get you all the way. They don't get you there all the way, and it usually ends up meaning that you have to add outside blood because you painted yourself into a corner. I'm trying to think of some of the others, but I get, and some of them just don't have names, but they show them to me, and I'm looking at this is a mess. I think I'm pretty educated on this. I'm looking at this, goes, what the hell is this? So.
Yeah, some of them they show on a board, and it looks like a big geography question.
Yeah. So,
am I in geography or am I learning about breeding chickens?
Yeah.
So,
any questions? Let's address. You have any questions? We can address.
No,
those.
We don't have any questions. The only thing that I do have here, I don't know if we need to address, is Facebook is taking away the messenger chat for Facebook groups.
I did hear that.
So,
Yeah.
Well, you heard that too, because Spazgetti is saying it might just be in Australia because he can't message the chat to the Breeders Academy on Facebook. So do you have any enlightenment on that?
He says might just be for Australians. No, this is supposed to be everywhere. I even got a notice I got an email from Facebook saying that they're getting rid of the like we have. How many chat boxes do we have in the Breeders Academy membership group page? 3, right?
3, yeah.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to do everything on the wall from now on.
Ooh. Now, will that wall be inside a Breeders Academy wall where the public can't see what's discussed?
It's going to be the group page for the Breeders Academy members. Yeah, so you have to be a member to see it. And I'm actually getting rid of my other group page. I'm slowly but surely moving all that material over to my other page, my other private page. And then once I do that, that group page is going to be gone. But I'll keep the Breeders Academy group page because that's where the members kind of get together and they talk. But yeah, I did hear that they're getting rid of the chat boxes or the chats for, what do you call it? Message. I forgot what it's called actually. But
Messenger.
Messenger
for Facebook groups.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I did hear that. I don't know when it is, but I know it's happening soon.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, I think what's happening is Facebook's coming up with some other things they want people to do, so they're getting rid of those. They're trying to direct people towards a certain function, from what I understand.
Okay.
which I would never want to put my business, how do I say this? When you have your business model in social media, that's dangerous, because social media like Facebook can just say, I don't like what you said, boom, the whole thing's gone. So I would never do that. That doesn't work for me.
Yeah, because then all that hard material that you worked hard on, to present.
All the people in there, the whole thing, your subscribers, the people that you're collecting. Anytime you do that on, like I have what's it called? It's YouTube memberships. Now that's not my business model, but it's there, and people take advantage of it, and it's a nice extra cash. But I don't base my whole business on how well that membership in YouTube works. It's there for people to go in there and check them out. Basically, they're looking at my archive, not the whole thing, but they're looking at most of the archive from the live show there. It's not the Masters Class videos. It's not the member roundtables. It's just the archive from the live show. And they can go in. I think they pay, I think I have it at $25 or something like that. And they can go and watch videos all day long, And so people are doing that, which is fine. But that's, to me, not part of my business model. That's just there. And my hope is that they're going to see enough videos in there that they're going to say, wow, okay, I like what he's producing. I like what he's saying. Let me go join the Breeders' Academy. I'll become a member. And I think they're really going to be happy there. And I suggested if you guys do that, where you join the YouTube membership on my YouTube channel, and you decide to become a Breeders' Academy member, make sure to go back and cancel that YouTube membership, because you don't need it. Everything's on the website. That's all on the website, with a lot more.
Well, the reason why people will even do that is because you only keep the live episodes of Bred to Perfection live on YouTube for a certain amount of weeks. It's the whole archive of the Bred to Perfection. That's what are we at? 186 episodes now.
This is 189.
189. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and then I have and then I have 265 of the podcast. So we've done a lot of shows, but I only put I only leave a handful of them out for the public. Everything else goes on the website,
and
along with all the programming
changing.
courses. Yeah, I'm always taking things off. Maybe every week I take some off.
Yeah. Just so you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think if you're going to base your business model by using what is there? There's Facebook, there's YouTube, Instagram. I know there's a lot of things. I don't do them all, but I don't even do Facebook these days. Basically what I do is I post my message on Facebook, get off. Because if you scroll at all on there, I haven't done it in a while. I've been so busy lately, but if you scroll at all on Facebook, it's all, I want to say most of it's AI. Once I see ads or AI, I'm out. Yeah. And I'm to the point now where I hardly even go on Facebook at all. I post, like I said, I post my message, I get the heck off.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Is that it?
So with that being said, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share our content so that we can get out to the masses. The more that you do for us, the more that we can help others. And we appreciate you.
Yeah. Is that it, Nancy?
Yeah. So what night are we going to be on next week?
The 28th with Brian Reeder. And
that's Tuesday, correct?
That's Tuesday.
Okay.
And then let me look real quick. I know everything's all screwed up, guys, so sorry about that. So, and then the next one after that will be on the 7th with Peter Brown, and then after that we'll be back to normal. We'll be on a regular schedule, regular time, and everything will be back to normal.
Yay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, appreciate you guys coming. I hope I taught you something. Hopefully open your eyes to what it takes to maintain the family and improve the family and keep it going, because there's a lot to consider. But yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's all you got, folks. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.